Welcome into today's show. I'm Taylor Schroll. I'm joined today by Chris Bartlett. We talk about not feeling safe in my own home, being terrified by something that happened there recently. We're also going to talk about a saint that you absolutely know about, that I feel dumb that I didn't know all this other stuff about them, and I think they're one of the coolest saints in the world now, even though I already thought they were pretty cool. We're also going to introduce a brand new game, and Chris is the only one dumb enough to agree to do this without knowing what we're doing. I hope you enjoy today's show. If you do, make sure you subscribe wherever you are watching or listening. Enjoy. Hello there, and welcome to Forte Catholic. I am Taylor Schroll, and that is Christopher Jazzy McJazzlefingers Bartlett.
Hello, Taylor. How are you, buddy?
Jazzy McJagglefingles. I can't talk. This is a podcast.
How many mimosas are you in today? Yes.
It's just straight tequila. That's what we're doing. Okay. So I was listening to, I was scrolling through like Reels the other day. You know how it shows you ads? And
Yes.
it was just another confirmation that my kind of comedy is just quick, but not always funny, which I understand that that's like what comedy is supposed to be, is funny. Like people like Nate Bargatze, best comic in the world, breaking every record at every venue he ever goes to. I feel like I could hang with him on his podcast. Like if I was a co-host on the podcast, I could get off some funny quips and they'd make fun of me. I'd even make fun of them, which would feel weird because I don't know them, but it feels like I do because I spend 2.5 hours with them every week, you know?
Yeah.
But
Natelandia or whatever it's called.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's called. Natelandia. Yeah.
Natelandia. Like Portlandia.
I feel like I could hang with the quick-wittedness, but like I could never do stand-up comedy. Like I don't have the chops. I don't have the patience to sit down and craft something like comedic. I just want to be funny on the get-go. And I feel like I had something. Sometimes the quick-wittedness reveals something going on in me that I maybe didn't realize. And there was a perfect example of this the other day. It made me laugh, which Lord knows not going to make anybody else laugh. But it was the quick-wittedness that got to me, because it was an ad as I was scrolling through my Reels, and it said, "Your home should be a perfect example of who you are." And immediately I said, "Old, battered, and I wish I was somewhere else, but large and great for my family."
Nice.
And I laughed because I came up with it, and then I sat with it. It's been in a note in my phone. I had that thought. I chuckled. I wrote it down in my phone word for word, and a real comedian would have taken that and made it better before they shared it with the world. I don't think I can make it any better. I'm not saying it's a perfect joke by any means. I'm just saying I can't do any better than that, and it's immediately what popped into my head.
Your best work. If it makes you laugh, then at least you've got a large audience.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. A large and easy to make laugh audience too. That's always the best.
Yeah, sometimes I think the humor that I have is for an audience of one as well. And my wife
Satan.
will remind me. No, just myself. Just myself. Me and Satan aren't friends, but just myself. And my wife will remind me sometimes, "Chris, this is why we can't make new friends." She'll just, "Your sense of humor is an acquired taste." And I think it's an audience of one as well. And I think sometimes I'm okay with that.
I too am okay with being an adult with no friends.
Yep. But here
That's what
we
adulting
are.
is. Everybody, whenever we were young, they were like, adulting is paying bills and going to a job. I'm like, no, adulting is having no friends.
And then when you do have time for a friend, trying to schedule their time as well. And then you just go back to being like, it was easier just to be alone.
Or you schedule it and record it, because if you're going to have a friendship once a month for an hour, you might as well let other people in on it.
Yeah, all your closest friends are digital, Taylor. Congratulations.
Yeah, exactly. So I bring that up, one, because I think it's an insight into myself for better or worse, but I think it's also two insights or one story and one insight about myself for later. The story involves my house. For about 3 weeks, I haven't felt safe in my own home. And I'm supposed to be the man of the house. I live in Texas. You can figure it out. Right. I should feel pretty safe in my home, right? But this funny's made even funnier. The story's made even funnier because of a mutual friend that you and I have named Jennifer Stavanoa. You know Jennifer, super holy, great speaker. She just wrote a book. She records a pod. She works with Ablaze Ministries. She records the Ablaze Ministries podcast literally right here on this microphone in this chair. Poor girl.
She hates bees, those type of things.
So she has a story along these same lines. I'm not going to say what it is because it would give it away. But I was sitting here a few weeks ago playing video games around 10:30, 10:45 at night, and I was wrapping up my evening, which is early for me. Like that's an early night where I was tired. I was already tired around 9:30. So I went and I took my 2 sleeping medicines, which are horse pills, to help me sleep because if you haven't picked it up already, I'm large. I'm a large person, so I need large pills to put me to sleep. Otherwise, I don't sleep because I'm broken.
Interestingly enough, there are also suppositories, which Taylor doesn't usually share.
Yeah, exactly. So those poor horses. So I took the drugs. So around 10:30, 10:45, it's funny because you know how good I am at video games. How I know when it's time for me to go to sleep is when I start playing like you. I'm like, oh, the drugs are working. Like I've been slowed down enough that I'm starting to play like Chris Bartlett. So typically it's like I was winning the football game in the first half. And then the second half, I throw 4 interceptions and the other team that I was beating by 45, it's now a 6-point game. And I'm like, I got to go to bed and finish this game tomorrow or I'm going to lose, Anyway, I was in that moment sitting in front of my TV. And it's completely dark in the room other than the light from the television. And in the window, currently to my right, is an AC unit. Because we have, like central AC for our house. But this room used to be the garage. And they made AC, like central heat or central heating and air does come to this room. It's just not as strong. It's not as well insulated and it's Texas summer, right? So I have the AC unit in the window just to help out this room. And one of the things that we're always worried about, we have like one of those, like we put a screw into the window because the window's not fully closed, right? You understand what I'm saying? So, but we put like a screw in it. It's an old thing where like, if somebody really wanted to, really all of our houses, somebody really wants to break in, they can get in. But we can make it more difficult for them, right? So we put a screw in the window. But there is a constant worry for the last like 11 years since we've lived here and put this AC unit in. If somebody's coming through the house, it's either through an open door that the kids left or that specific window, right? So 10:30, 10:45 at night, I am falling asleep in a drug state, and I hear thud, boom, bang on that window. And because we have the AC unit, like we can't have our curtains all the way over it or it would block the AC, right? So it's kind of pulled where you can barely see out the window.
Yep.
I look out the window, fully expecting to see a human being breaking into my house, and the drugs are no longer working. I am ready to go. I'm ready to fight. I'm ready
through the roof.
I'm going crazy. I look out the window, and immediately at that moment, a snake rears its head and stares at me through the window. He's shocked as I am. Like, what? He had fallen. Apparently, he was climbing on my house. And he had fallen onto the AC unit, which is the huge thud noise. Yes. I see the snake. I instantly run to the other side of the house because that's where I have my shovels. I grab the shovel. I run back to this side of the house. And we've seen garden snakes in our house. Snakes are not a common occurrence here in Bryan College Station, Texas. They're not
a garden snake is a thud, not a bang, boom, bam.
Right. And like
this is the devil himself. This is the serpent.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like typically we've seen like 3, 4 foot, 2 foot garden snakes. And it's like, oh, cute, right? No, this thing that reared up its neck and its head at me is not a cute thing. So I'm looking at it and immediately in my mind, it's like a 4 or 5 foot snake because it's pretty thick around, right? So I sprint out, I get a brand new shovel that I had just purchased, so it's sharp. It's one of those flat bottom ones. Like I'm
the
ready.
Snake's getting the best.
I'm
not the used one. We're going the best for you,
Snakey.
Snakey.
He's gonna die of puncture wounds, not a sickness from the rust of the
right.
Old,
exactly.
of the old shovel.
Top shelf shovel.
I go and I run and I grab the shovel. I go outside, and dude, by the time I got there, he had already started slithering back up to the top of the house. There's a small crack in our in one of our bricks. Just one of the bricks had come loose, and there had been a bird living in that crack. And the snake apparently smelled that bird. And by the time I got there, its head was literally like right at the crack in the house, and it was about to go in. And I stab it with the thing, right? When I go out there, I notice that this is not a 4 or 5 foot garden snake. I don't know what kind of snake it was, because need I remind you, it's 10:45 at night. It is pitch black outside. All I could see is like the silhouette of a snake, because there's one street light on our little cul-de-sac. So I swipe at the snake. When I do, I realize that his head is at the top of my house. I see his body going into the lattice that I have right next to my window. Yep. His body is still on the air conditioning unit. This thing is a monster. I think it's got to be 6-7 feet long. Like, it's massive, right? So I hit it once with the shovel. It falls immediately to the ground. So I think I got it, right? I stab it one more time while it's on the ground, and I look down immediately after I stab down, and I see nothing. And I can't do it because I'm sitting down on the podcast, but I do that little dance where you start sprinting in place. Like, I think
with the high step, the high step.
Absolutely. I'm like trying to jump over and make myself a moving target, right? Never saw the snake again.
Oh no. And now he's mad at you.
Never saw him again. I hit him twice pretty hard with a shovel. Not direct hits, like I didn't get like the perfect 90-degree angle or whatever. But I hit him twice. So hopefully he slithered away and died. Or he's currently watching me outside like, I can't believe he's telling this story. I'm waiting.
I'm waiting, and I will find you. I know where you live. That bird, you're the new bird. I'm going to eat you.
Yeah, exactly. So 10:30 at night, it was about 10:45 when all this ended, right? I come back inside, and now I can't go to sleep. I was literally about to fall asleep in my chair before Satan knocked on my window. And then I was up till 2 a.m. And even when I went to bed because the drugs started working, right? Like I let them start working again. But like from 1 to 2 in the morning, I was just like doing like a radar version of my house in my head. Like, where is there a snake-sized hole they can get in? And all I could think about was like, I'm going to wake up and one of my kids is going to have a new scarf, and it's going to be that snake, and they're going to be dead because I couldn't kill this snake. Like, I was just utterly terrified. And like going back, I started shoving towel. Like the holes, there's like, a hole under my door, and it is 1 millimeter wide. And I'm laying down towels and stuff. I'm like, you shall not pass.
Because what would honestly happen is you would wake up for breakfast in the morning. There'd be this 7-foot tall snake in your kitchen,
right,
cooking. And you'd walk out and be like, what is going on? It's wearing an apron and it slithers to you. It's my family now. And you just would grab your bag and your Xbox controller and leave being like, you got me. I'm defeated. And that'd be game over. So yeah, protect your family because he wants it all.
Utterly ridiculous. It's absolutely terrifying. I didn't feel safe in my home for weeks. Unbelievable. And like every time I opened my door, I just assumed that he had climbed into like the frame of the door and was ready to strike. I learned today that rattlesnakes, their bite is like when they snap, it's something ridiculous, like 16,000 miles per hour when they snap. Like I cannot win. I just can't win against this. It's utterly terrifying, and I haven't slept well in 3 weeks. I just wanted to let you know.
Look, keep looking up facts on rattlesnakes. I think that'll help lull you right to sleep, Taylor.
Like a baby rattle. That was very good. Very good.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, I very much was thinking about I think it was absolutely Satan, because if he can attack you where you feel safest, my home, I haven't felt safe here, and I don't have good peace of mind, and I've gotten stressed, and my body started falling apart. Now I'm having to get physical therapy on things that have absolutely nothing to do with snakes. I clearly can't talk because I haven't slept well in 3 weeks, and all because of I think Satan's going to get in and choke my children.
Nice. Well, I will say this.
Not
the
nice.
enemy. Yeah, very, very nice, Taylor. Good story. But I will say this. Attack of the family, I think, is where Satan wants to start and continue. And disrupting or taking your peace is the first step. I mean, now you're tired, which makes you weak and vulnerable in other areas. I think it's all part of a master plan. And it's not just an analogy. I think it's a fair one-to-one kind of example, because he wasn't intending to hurt you. He kind of just got caught. The enemy got caught, and then you're like, I'm going to go after the enemy. What you should have done is dialed the old Jesus to go ask his mom to step on the snake. But again, Mary's got a pretty firm step.
She was sleeping. Her drugs worked.
Well, and she can crush the head of the snake, and then you would probably have lost your air conditioning window unit. She would have just destroyed it right in half, and that's a whole new problem. So, you're in a tough situation. But stealing of peace is not the same as actually being physically threatened. You're actually probably not physically threatened. That snake is probably far away being like, I don't like Shovel Man. It's on its own podcast right now. Shovel Man. But in all fairness, this co-host, it was a nice shovel. It was a very nice shovel. I don't like it. But he's never going back to the house again. If you used
the rusty one, you'd be dead from your sickness, bro.
You'd be so dead.
He's on his podcast going, they think it's snake form, but Satan really appears as a pasty fat man who attacks me in the middle of the night. I'm just trying to eat my dinner, man.
And Jesus is spelled with 32 S's. Jesus.
Ridiculous. Okay. Utterly ridiculous. So all I've thought about is this story of Jennifer. So she shared this story. She actually shared this story on this podcast on like episode 2. So she just came back on the show a few months ago and we talked about her returning for this. I've been thinking about it because she tells this story when she gives her Mary talk. And this story, which is one of her favorite stories, literally happened as my oldest son was being born. Like she was in a field at an old golf, like rundown golf play. What are they called?
Golf course.
Yeah, there you go. I was like links. Okay. I'm like, I know that's for fancy people. She wasn't at the links course. She was at a regular course. So it was closed down golf course, and she was praying, and then a snake got right in front of her and like did the head thing and started rearing at her. And instead of, there wasn't a shovel around or like running, she started praying. And like, I did not sue in the name of Jesus. And it worked. She thinks it's the Lord. I have said as a follow-up every time I hear this talk, because I hear it 3 times a year, that I think the snake was just so confused because he's attacked other humans before. And they were always scared that he was just so shocked. He's like, I'm going to leave this one alone. But she went immediately to prayer and saying all the things that you were saying, which I believe you when you say it now. I do not believe that you would pray if a snake attacked your home. I think I'm calling BS on that. I think you would go find a shovel as well.
I would get the kids, light a match, throw it in the living room, and drive away. Just be like, that's it. We're never living here again. Yeah, you need a speaking gig that's out of town so you can get a good night's rest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anywhere but your home. Yeah.
So I just thought it was funny. I was like, yeah, I'm just going to be me. I'm just going to be me in every situation, right? Like Jennifer handled it a completely holy way, and she was fine, and she slept great that night and every night for the next 3 weeks. I took to the practical solution, and I'm miserable. So, yeah, that's it.
We got to catch you a snake, and we got to cook that snake, and then we got to hold it up above your house like the snake skin, the dead snake head, right. just to be a warning. Let it be known. What's Billy doing up there?
This is my Passover.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. So, on the theme of me being me, I had this realization the other day. And it's something that I've always known is true, but I've never been able to word it like this. And I think I put it really succinctly for me. And I tweeted it out and like shared it on social media. And everyone agreed. And I'm not sure what their agreement... I don't think their agreement is positive. I think they're agreeing negatively. So I said, okay, the best part about me, I think one of my best qualities is that I'm going to be me in every situation. I'm not changing who I am in any situation. The absolute worst part of me is that I'm going to be me in every situation, no matter what happens. And it got more play on my social media than anything has gotten play in the last like year. And everybody was like, haha, yeah, so true, truest thing you've ever said. And I'm like, does everyone hate me? Like, is that where we're at?
Because they gave you a thumbs up, and you're like, you're just thumbsing up the second half of that statement,
right,
you jerks.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, yeah.
So I'll say 2 things to that. Number 1, I think it's admirable and maybe even clinical for you to believe that you fully know who you are. Like I'm a couple minutes older than you, just a couple, and I'm still on the journey to figure out like what is the true self? Like who is the real Chris Bartlett? Am I operating as that scared kid from back when this happened when I was younger? Because sometimes I walk in at a conference or a social situation and I still feel like the 8th grader walking into the cafeteria or the 7th grader walking into the cafeteria, trying to find out which table I belong at. You know what I mean? And so there's a lot like in regards to the Christian walk. I think identity, knowing and owning your identity is one of the surest ways to be able to build a foundation for a relationship with Christ that lasts forever. And so recognizing, hey, this is Taylor, love it or hate it, this is going to be Taylor. And to say it in a way that says like, and I know that I got some farts and freckles and I'm on a journey, but I'm not going to try and hide that and pretend I'm on a journey. So if it bumps into you or frustrates you, know that I'm aware of that. Like I think that that's awesome. So yeah, so that understanding of self and then that confidence to be able to articulate it is pretty bold. So I applaud your courage in sharing that honestly.
The positive version of it. Like I saw this thing today that I resonated with so much, and I actually texted it to some of my track kids that I've coached over the last 10 years that had this like unbelievable confidence in themselves, right? That I think I might have had something to do with that because I coached them to feel that way. It's like the superstars, right? And there was a kid today, they start college football this weekend, and there was a kid today that was asked, how's your team going to play? He said, we're going to play so well that people in wheelchairs are going to get up and walk. I'm like, that's awesome. Like it's clear. Like he doesn't actually think that people in wheelchairs are going to get up and walk, but he says it and he means it. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but it makes sense to somebody like me because I'm like, that's how confident I am that we're going to play well. Granny can stay in her wheelchair, but we're going to win by 50. Like that's all I ever meant. Right. And so there is the positive side of the, like, I don't often struggle with who I am. Like I'm pretty set. I'm 35 years old. It's kind of who I'm going to be. I've rubbed some people the wrong way, and I used to feel really bad about it. And now I'm like, they don't like me. That's fine, right? But on the negative side of it, where I'm like, where it can be a bad thing, is that I'm like, this is just who I am. So I'm kind of like, especially in the spiritual life, just kind of settling of like, I'm not going to grow in holiness. I'm not going to try to even become... I'm not. I think I used to, and I've talked about it a bunch on the show. It's like I felt bad. I think I still feel bad about not being as holy as other people, especially because all I can do is see how their holiness looks, and my holiness doesn't look like that. So I felt bad. Like I've shared about that before, but there is some stuff even in myself that I'm like, well, this is just a sin that I do. This is just a thing that I'm never gonna be that loving, or I'm never going to do this type of caring and act or whatever, because this is just who I am, right? So there are positives and negatives to it, but ultimately I am happy with it because it's just like, there's nothing else. I'm the Taylor Schroll of my generation. Nothing's going to change. Like I am who I am. You can like it or love it. And as Eminem taught me, I'm Taylor Schroll. Yes, I'm the real Taylor Schroll. All you other Taylor Scrolls are just imitating. So won't the real Taylor Schroll please stand up, grab a shovel, and go outside and attack that snake?
So 2 things. One, there was a Brady Bunch episode that was titled, Will the Real Jan Brady Please Stand Up? And if that's not a word for word and syllable for syllable acknowledgement of a prequel to that song, I think it should be. Number 2, like the Taylor from yesterday and the Taylor from today are near the same. But the Taylor from 5 years ago and the Taylor today are fairly different. Would you agree
Vastly
or disagree?
Worse. Yeah. Vastly worse, but happier with who I am.
Okay. So at least there's movement, right? At least there's movement. But I think that self-knowledge, it's important to recognize, because if you're confident in who you are and you know, hey, I struggle in this area, or I can't do this, I've tried and I can't do this, then you're at a place where you can ask for help. Like if someone's injured or one of your athletes is kind of limping or running funny, you can tell, but they're not going to get any help unless they explain to someone like, this is what's going on with my leg. And I know that because normally it doesn't feel like that. Normal Taylor doesn't feel like that, and something's off. And I'm confident that something's wrong because I know who I am. And so if you want to grow in holiness and you recognize that you've reached your limit rolling in at, 12 miles an hour, you're like, then I need to go to someone. spiritual director, or I need to do something different to improve myself, because I know that right now I have gone the length or the distance or the speed that I'm able to go to be successful. And so there is that element of, in the short-sightedness, to be able to be confident that it's like, nope, something's off. I'm not able to do this on my own. I need to get help, right? This is why, like St. Paul, he says, I do not understand what I do, for I want to do the good, but I hate what I do. And he's like, has this self-realization. He's not like, oh, but God does this thing to me and it's his fault. He's taking ownership over it. And that's where that statement, you're like taking ownership over the shadow side of your reality and your situation, but also the confidence in the first half of your statement to be like, I'm going to be Taylor wherever I show up, and fully Taylor, because there's a lot of gifts that people also don't want to be like, oh, but that's prideful. It's like, no, these are my gifts and God gave them to me to use these gifts. And so if you can have that confidence in that reality, then you can take agency over that calling that comes with those gifts. The shortfall means you have to take ownership over that and reach out for help. But both, only either one only ever happens if we have a sense of self-awareness. And your statement showed that.
Yeah. So the two examples that made me realize this were literally the same night. I tweeted this out after I went to our pastoral council meeting, and I hadn't been to pastoral council in quite some time because I had been leading our foundations course, and it was just on the same night over the summer. Sure. So this was my return back, and I've talked before about how, like, the pastoral council is one of those places where they're all doctors and leaders of organizations, and it's all these fancy people and me, right? Where and it was one of those things when I got on pastoral council, I was like, when I talked to the pastor, I was like, do you really want me? Or do you want, like, what you think I can be, or that you want me? He's like, no, I want you. Okay, great. So I came, and the best thing, or not the best thing about our pastor is that he's completely revolutionized our parish and made it holy in a place that I want to go. That's the best thing about our parish. The next best thing, my favorite, specifically Taylor's favorite thing about our pastor, is that he's so used to being in serious meetings, and he's running a serious organization. It's one of the larger parishes in the diocese. I know it's pales in comparison to yours, but I think we're like the 9th or 10th biggest parish in the diocese in terms of people and land and all that.
I think it's higher up. I think it's like 5th or 6th. Yeah.
So it's a large organization, and he's running it so well, and he's in all these serious meetings with serious people, and they're talking millions of dollars for roofs. And then I show up and I make a joke. And the best thing about my jokes is, like I mentioned earlier, my jokes aren't great, but they're quick. So I say something quickly, and the whole room freezes because it's all these fancy people. And then the pastor looks at me, and he does that kind of like cockeyed, cocked his head to the side, and look, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like looks at me, and he like rolls back what someone else said and then what I said in response, and then he goes, and then like minions, the other 9 members of the pastoral council then start busting out laughing. It's my favorite part of every month. It's so much fun. I do it sparingly. Like, I'm not an idiot, because I did write the second part of that. I'm not going to be a clown for an hour and a half. Like, when we're praying, we're praying. But there, like, usually I do one silly thing in a silly time, but then purposely later in the meeting, when things start getting tense, I will wait. I will kind of wait. I don't have one in the chamber, but I will kind of be listening to the conversation. I will hear something. I'll make a funny remark, and like the tension kind of dies out of the room. We all laugh, and then we get back to tackling but if like we were 3 steps away from blows, now we're at 8 steps away from blows because the tension was lifted, right?
Levity, when used sparingly, is excellent for cutting through that potential toxic tension and things like that. But when it's the only thing, you're basically seen as a class clown, which is pretty quick to be in the class dunce. And so you gotta kind of peel it back. Especially, it requires a special sense of self-control when that laughter feels so good. Like the room erupting in laughter.
I'm just so used to it that I don't need it all that much at the pastoral council.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's normal pastoral council meeting. This last one that I went to was a joint meeting for the first time of the pastoral council and the finance council. Ooh.
A crossover episode everyone's dreamed of.
And boy, if you want to see some people who don't understand a clown just go to a finance council meeting, right? So I have the awareness, and I'm being myself, and I have the awareness that, one, I haven't been there in 3 months because I've been leading another ministry. It's not like I was doing, it's not like I was doing
for the exact same church, the same parish.
Exactly. So I have the awareness of like, look, I'm going to let other people talk because they've been, we have essentially a continuous conversation every month, right? We kind of pick up where we left off. So I'm like, I'm not gonna insert myself in this conversation, but also like the money people are here. I'm going to be serious. But later on, it didn't get tense, but there was somebody in particular that was kind of going over, like taking over the conversation, and I made a joke they wouldn't shut up. So I made a joke in the middle of them talking that everyone laughed, and by the time it died down, someone else started talking, and it fixed the meeting, if not saved it, because it was going, we were all starting to glaze over our eyes, right?
Yep.
And I made one joke, and then right after it, a guy from the finance council who had looked pretty, not grumpy, but like serious, like very serious. Like you could tell that he loves the parish, and I'm about like, leading a foundations course. He's like, we need to make sure this parish has $8 million in a trust fund or something. I don't know what they do.
Sure.
It's serious stuff, way more important probably than what I'm doing for the ultimate, longevity of the parish. But like, not the typical kind of guy that would like, he came right up to me, made a beeline. It's like, hey, who are you? Nice to meet you. It's like, great to see you. Like, I was just, I made a friend with one of the fancy people. This is awesome. So it was like, it was used for good. Like I used my powers for good, right?
Yeah.
And literally right after that meeting, the same night, it was one of the most bizarre examples of my weirdness being used in a good way. It was very strange. So we finished the meeting. I'm walking out with somebody. They tell me that they just got diagnosed that day. I could tell that they were a little teary-eyed. They just got diagnosed that day with a very serious heart condition. So older person, very serious heart condition. I've been close with this person for a while. Hadn't talked to him in a while, but apparently because this had been going on, right? Where it's a serious heart condition where like literally at any moment they could die. And
then thank goodness your jokes are just quick and not super funny.
Yeah.
You could laugh them right into an ambulance.
So I'm talking to him. And they're telling me this whole story, and it's kind of one of those things. It's what you do with friends, like you're having one conversation, but you're actually having three, right? So we're actually talking about this. We're catching up. It's this heart condition and because life is all integrated. It's like I'm sick, but my grandkids are in town, and my kids are in town, and this is going on.
Sure.
So they're updating me on their whole life, and also we're talking about this heart thing and contemplating which type of treatment. Do I even want to do treatment? Like I could die this way from this one. I could die this way from this one. Like a very serious thing, right? And the hope is pretty simple procedure. Hopefully get it fixed and it won't be a problem anymore, right? Like that's the hope, but it's scary. And it just had happened a few hours earlier. And we're having this conversation, and I realized like towards the end of it, we can tell, you can kind of tell when the conversation's wrapping up. I said to her, I was like, It's weird that we've been laughing this whole time. We laughed through the entire conversation.
Yeah.
She was making quips. I was making quips as she's telling me that she could die at any moment and that she's terrified, right? And yet we're laughing through this whole thing. We're talking about family. We're talking about this. And I'm just like, this is so weird. It's so weird. Like, who has this conversation and laughs during it? And yet I felt good about it. And she felt good about it walking away, which is strange. And it's like, it's one of those weird times where I felt like good about the weird parts of me, right?
Because any other ending for that conversation would have likely been inauthentic, right? It wouldn't have been you being fully genuine, because you're going to, oh, you have this heart condition. Now I'm going to start treating you like you're in a coffin. No, you're still my friend. I'm still going to jab at you. You're still going to jab at me. We're going to end with a hug and a smile. Otherwise, it's not going to be authentic. Otherwise, things are forever different, And so I think that there was the genuine reality for Taylor, right? For someone else, it might have been a little more sobering or something like that. But for Taylor, it's going to be a joyful conversation, because that's part of who you are.
Yeah, and it was just weird, because I'm like, in those moments, I think that I should be, like, if I look back at it, be like, what should I have done? In my mind, what I should have done is been very serious and given her a big hug, which I did at the end. I enveloped this person. Like, I'm twice their size, right? So, like, I I feel like I should be. So I have this image in my mind of pastoral, right? Of hugging and being very serious and being like a counselor and like, come sit on my couch and we can talk through this. We can talk through options and what does the Lord have to say? Like, I feel like that's what I'm supposed to do. And yet I finished the conversation and I checked with her after. I was like, I said it and she laughed and she's like, I love you. And we hugged and all this kind of stuff. It's just super sweet, a super sweet moment of me being able to be me. And I feel like it's because like we have a built-in relationship and she knows who I am. Like she knows she did, like if you know somebody, you're not going to go to a certain you're not going to go to the clown for counseling. You're going to go for like, maybe I need a little laugh today and a little, and a hug from somebody who's kind of like a son, to me. She's kind of like been like a mom to me here in town. It's like, just, I don't know. It was just this strange moment where I didn't, but like the craziest thing is I didn't even think about it during. I only got this realization at the end of like, this is not normal. Is this okay? And she's like, yeah, absolutely. Right. Where I don't know. It was just this really cool kind of like affirmation of being who I am can still be used for good and holy things.
That's beautiful. I'm glad you get to have that moment. And I'm glad you don't put a lid on who you are. That'd be a bushel basket of the light that God gave you to shine.
Yeah.
Can I tell you about my shirt just real quick?
Sure.
So by the time this podcast airs, this dude on my shirt will likely be a saint. My daughter and I went to...
The fonts?
The font. Hey. So this is an image of Blessed Carlo multiplied lots of times on a shirt that I got from the internet. But it's my daughter who drew the image. And Blessed
Your
Carlo...
Your daughter is on the internet?
My daughter has the webs. Yeah, she's seen a cat video. And so he is two things. Number one, we bought a bunch of Blessed Carlo medals.
Blessed and Italian.
Blessed Italian medals. But do those medals become Saint Carlo medals when he becomes a saint? They're just medals of him. They don't say blessed or saint. They're just medals of him.
Then yes, if it says BL, you have to scratch it out and put ST.
And you got to correct it. Okay, because then it's just old news. Yeah. And so, but he is weighted because
they are less powerful sacramentals, though.
That's good enough. You know what? That should be the next bracket that you do, a sacramentals bracket.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so funny. It's like an RPG where like, you start with a level 1 wand. The level 2 wand is just a Carlo Acutis wand. The level 3 wand is a blessed Carlo Acutis wand. The level 4 wand, you take it to the church and you get it blessed. That's a level 4 blessed Carlo Acutis wand. And then you get the Saint Carlo Acutis wand, but if you try to use it in battle and it's not blessed, it actually backfires and does damage to you. The final version is if you have it say Saint. But the two options are to bring it to the church, bring the Saint one to the church, or you bring the blessed one to the blacksmith and he can just change the already blessed one from BL to ST.
Good. Thank you for all that the mixed metaphor. I don't know if a wand would necessarily be something he'd be excited about. Maybe a Pokemon card and you could upgrade it.
If he liked Pokemon, he had to like Harry Potter.
There's 0% chance he liked Harry Potter because he loved Jesus. That man loved Jesus. Anyways, the second thing I need to tell you
Avada
is
Kedavra.
if he was alive today,
That's from the Latin Mass, by the way.
Thank you. You know what he would enjoy?
Hermione, like every
peach
other
iced
millennial.
tea. He would love Lipton peach iced tea. Guaranteed.
That's our old sponsor. Today's show is brought to you by Propel Gatorade, the berry flavor, because it's the one that I grabbed out of my mini fridge when we were late for recording.
If you want to go from a blessed to a saint, drink
Holy Water by Gatorade.
and give to Forte Catholic. Those are the 2 steps to canonization right there.
It didn't say I was funny, just said I was quick.
There you go. Thank you, Taylor.
You're so welcome. Okay. I have a saint story today, too. You ready for this?
I am.
That was a perfect, awkward transition by you, Chris. I'm very proud of you. So
I tried so hard.
And got so far, but at the end, it didn't really matter. So like a month ago, let's see, I actually have the date. No, it was just a couple of weeks ago. It was St. Maximilian Kolbe's feast day. He is one of the most famous saints in the world because of one singular story, Would you like to have an attempt at telling that story?
Yeah, so he established a paper to combat the Freemasons called the Immaculata, the something Immaculata.
No, that's not the story. That's
not that one.
The story.
The other one?
Yeah.
Somebody pulled a David Copperfield, and they decided they were going to kill 10 men. So he was in a concentration camp, and one of the prisoners...
Wait. David Copperfield murdered 10 people?
No. He disappears. He's a magician. I thought you would know these things because of all your Harry Potter references. He was a magician. So one of the camp members in the concentration
I only appreciate
camp.
real magicians like Harry Potter. Okay, please tell the story of the St. Maximilian Kolbe.
One of the people in the camp disappeared. They believed him to have escaped. And so they pulled 10 people from the camp line in the concentration camp. This is Auschwitz, and they pulled him. And one guy gets pulled forward and said, "Please no, I have children." And Father Kolbe stepped forward and said, "I will take his place." Now, two things to note. Number one, awesome. Like, I will lay down my life for him. But number two, the fact that he stepped forward and was heard and not immediately shot was a moment of grace that was existing there as well, because that type of falling out of line type of thing would have likely ended in his beating or death ultimately. And
it's almost exactly like the story that I mentioned earlier with Jennifer and the snake. Like, the reason that they didn't shoot him isn't because I don't think it's because of grace. I think it's because they were so shocked. They were like, "What? You want to die?" Everybody here for the last months, if not years, they're relieved when it's not them, right? Or one of their family members or whatever, right?
Like, literally, you just won by not getting your name called, and now you're stepping forward. Yeah,
right. I think it was just so shocking. They're like, "I don't even can we do this?" Like, it's crazy the story to offer your life for another person. It's just an insane thing and heroic thing to do, and it shocked them.
And so, anyways, it turns out, and this is after it all went down, the man that disappeared or quote unquote escaped, he was found dead in a latrine in a cesspool.
Oh wow, I didn't know that part of the story.
Yeah. So he didn't actually escape. So they got rid of 11 prisoners, or 10, and then another one died for no real reason, which kind of defines the whole concentration camp situation. But then he went into a cell, and he ended up living faithfully, and like, really, they couldn't kill him. They tried to starve him, and he just kept singing hymns and praises to the Lord. And all of a sudden, everyone there is like in love with Jesus. And so even though it's like the most miserable punishment ever, and they know they're going to die, it's also like, there's nowhere else on planet Earth that I want to be right now than in this cell worshiping the Lord with Father Maximilian Kolbe. And ultimately they inserted a poison or acid into his veins, which ultimately led to his demise. But just awesome story of laying down one's life for a brother, a stranger even. So.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like, I've worked in youth ministry for long enough, and I've gone to enough, heard enough homilies that is the story of St. Maximilian Kolbe, is the story of him offering up his life, right? Yeah. And like, it's very Christ-like. I'm literally laying down my life so that somebody else may live. So like, you can't be much more Christ-like than that. It's one of the best stories of love and sacrifice that I've ever heard. But you already started sharing one of the fun facts that I learned at the daily mass that I went to a couple weeks ago with my wife for our normal, mass lunch date on Thursdays that I've talked about.
Which is beautiful. Right? Yes. Keep it going.
Yeah. Awesome. So we went to, and this was one of the first ones we went back to, because we didn't do it over the summer because our kids were here. Right. So we found other things to do, but it just wasn't as good as this normal scheduled, kids are in school. We're there on Thursdays. So we were at mass, and it was St. Maximilian Kolbe's feast day. And the priest's homily was about St. Maximilian Kolbe's life. And I'm like, here we go again. I'm just going to hear the same story that I've heard 1,000 times. And it's like, it is one of the greatest stories, but it's like, I've heard it. Like, I get it. I've thought with it. I've prayed with it. I've sat with it. I know the story, right? But he didn't do that. He actually said, everybody, he said it right. It's probably safe to assume that at a daily mass on a Thursday at noon, most people know the St. Maximilian Kolbe death story, right?
Sure.
But he starts listing off these things. And one of the things that he listed off was that he went to Japan, specifically Nagasaki, in like, I forget what year he said, but it was like 1938, 1940. And I'm like, wait. Like a bomb went off right around then. Like, I don't know my history perfectly, but I'm like, it's right there, right? So I'm listening to the homily, and while they're doing I'm just immediately intrigued. So after the homily's done, he's doing the preparation of gifts or whatever, I'm Googling St. Maximilian Kolbe and learning about the story, because I'm starting to make all these little clicks in my head of like, wait, he was in Nagasaki and converted. And the thing that the priest said was that he started a monastery in Nagasaki in the late 1930s, early 1940s. And I'm like, that sucks, because it gets blown up 3 years later, 3 to 5 years later. I'm like, that really sucks that this was his life's work. And then he said what you started saying earlier, solely to make me mad, was that he started a publishing house. And it was a publishing house, publishing Catholic books. He actually also got on Catholic TV, or on not Catholic TV, on the radio and TV, just normal broadcast, to share about Catholicism. And then he traveled to Japan. He started a publishing house, the Militia Immaculata, one of the largest publishing houses in the world and the largest in Europe at the time. He had 2 doctorates in philosophy and theology, started that monastery in Nagasaki. After he dies in the concentration camp, the bomb gets dropped on Nagasaki. His monastery survives the blast, because the Japanese religion told him, you have to build it on this side of the mountain because this is the holy side of the mountain. He said, no, I'm going to build it on this side of the mountain because it's different than your religion. And I just think, I prayed about it. This is where I'm going to put the bomb. He put it on the other side of the mountain. The bomb drops on this side of the mountain. His entire monastery is still there to this day.
Wow.
It's one of the only things that survived the bombing. And the priest ended his homily by saying that Maximilian Kolbe's feast day is on August 14th, which is a week from the anniversary of the bombing of Nagasaki on August 9th. And it shows the best of humanity and the worst of humanity. The best of humanity offering your life up as a sacrifice for another human life. The worst, killing civilians. Like
indiscriminately.
Dude, it's one of the best stories ever. And what stuck in my head I listened to the homily, I started reading, and then the rest of Mass started, so I put my phone away. I get in my car, we're driving to lunch, and I'm in the car before we even, get the AC going, because again, it's hot. I'm reading the story, and I'm going to my wife, I'm like, this is insane that I've never heard this story. And because what immediately clicked in my mind is I always heard the story. It made the sacrifice story even more powerful for me. And maybe it shouldn't, but it really did. Because I always thought this guy was just a normal parish priest living somewhere that Germany took. They took the local parish priest. They put him in a concentration camp. The local priest offers up his life for a parishioner or maybe just some other random person they didn't know. Beautiful story, but it's, quote unquote, just a normal parish priest. I'm sorry, Father Anthony. I understand. Yeah, whatever. This guy was Father Mike. This guy was Bishop Robert Barron. This was one of the most famous and successful priests in the world.
And influential.
Absolutely influential. And incredibly, he had 2 doctorates. So when they killed him, 2 doctorates died. One of a guy who was starting monasteries, holy enough to do that and to lead people. A guy who started a publishing house that was changing the world. A guy who was one of the first priests on radio and television talking about. He's that day's Father Mike Schmitz or Bishop Robert Barron, and that's who sacrificed his life. Which is crazy to me, because if you think about it, in old wars, the king's not going to be like, oh, you took one of my people prisoner. Exactly. I'm going to give you back one of your prisoners. I'm not giving you me. I'm the king. And he's like, no, I'm the king. He was one of the most famous priests in the world. And he's like, I'm going to die for this random person.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable to me. And I'm like, it takes one of the coolest stories of Catholicism and just wraps it up and makes it even cooler. And I've missed it my whole life. I live in this Catholicism thing, and no one told me until I went to a Thursday daily mass. We got to be talking about this guy.
I wonder if every saint story is like that, to where we only get the highlight reel and you dig deeper and you're like, wait, there's so much more gold beneath this, beneath this. But it does make you think, like, he was a saint before he was a martyr.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's like, oh, you became a saint because you were martyred. And that's kind of the assumption.
Right.
It's
You were
like,
a normal parish priest, and then you were murdered during Mass at your church. So you're a
This
saint.
guy could have had a heart attack, died of natural causes 2 weeks earlier, and would still be Saint Maximilian Kolbe.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just such a cool story. All right. Perfect transition from that, the most heartfelt I've been about Catholicism in a long time, into a stupid game that I created, all built on, wait for it, me being quick but not funny.
Here we go. There we go.
Okay. This game is similar to other games that we've played, but we are calling it Catholic Analogies. Catholic Analogies. So how this works, did you do your homework? I gave you homework. You were just come up with 5 Catholic
have it in
words.
front of me. Yes.
You do 5 Catholic words and 5 random words. Here's how this is going to work. We are going, you know what an analogy is. It's like, my chair is like charcoal because it is black and it warms up whenever something warm is around it. And it is very helpful, just like charcoal is helpful in cooking. Therefore, my chair is like charcoal. Make sense?
Yes.
How this is going to work is you have 5 Catholic words and I have 5 random words. I have 5 Catholic words. You have 5 random words. I am going to give you, you are going to give me one of your Catholic words, and I'm going to give you one of my random words, and then you are going to make that analogy make sense.
So I have to pick my Catholic word first, and
Correct.
then you get to pick from your list.
From my weird list, and then, or random list, and then you have to make it make sense immediately.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So you go ahead and go first. We're just going to throw you right into the water here, right?
Into the lion's den. Here we go. I'm going to start with...
so you're going to say Catholic word is like, and I'm going to say a word, and then you're going to start explaining.
Yeah. A canonization, because we got Blessed Carlos coming up. A canonization is like...
Water.
It's like water. Because it brings us back to our baptismal graces and shows the destination at the same time, and water flows to the greater sea.
That sounded like a homily, and that means it wasn't very good.
Minus 2 points.
All right. Reconciliation is like?
A pineapple.
Reconciliation is like a pineapple. For misdemeanors, what are misdemeanor sins called?
Venial.
Venial. For venial sins, you don't really need it, but it really makes it better if you still go and confess your misdemeanor sins, just like pineapple on a pizza. You don't need it, but it does make it a little better. So go to reconciliation, say your mortal sins, but add a few venial misdemeanors in there if you want to.
You score higher than me, you get a -1.
So I want to know how your brain works. Was that quick? Did you think about that immediately, or did you think about that whenever you said -2 a minute ago?
No. The pineapple? Or what do you mean?
No. The -1. That was a great joke.
Oh, no, that just came up. Yeah.
Okay, very, very good. Yeah, you're just the same as me.
The best we've offered in this game so far is the banter in between. That's good. That's good.
Okay.
I'm going to go tabernacle. Oh, a tabernacle is like...
Bricks.
Because it's sturdy, bricks help protect. But to sin is very dangerous, just like a brick can be very dangerous. The last thing is the brick only is effective because of what's inside. If it was a hollow brick, it wouldn't work. And the tabernacle, what's inside is what matters most.
Okay, you got back to it right in the middle. I was like, you're just talking about bricks and other things in Catholicism. I was like, it didn't have anything to do with that. But if we just take the beginning and the end, it was pretty good. So, all right. The sacrament of confirmation is like?
A telescope.
Because no one understands a telescope and no one understands the sacrament of confirmation.
10 points. 10 points.
It just works, but we don't understand how.
Whenever you graduate, you get a telescope. It looks like a diploma and no one understands it. Yeah.
You and I have worked multiple confirmation retreats before, and they're always like, can you explain confirmation? I'm like, no, I can't. You know why? Because no one else can either, because we confused it with baptism and it's got nobody. Something, Holy Spirit fire, renewal of your faith, have fun.
Pentecost. Don't leave the church.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Hey, what's the sacrament of confirmation? The one where they yell at you because 80% of the people leave the church. And how does that make you feel? I don't know. They're yelling at me. I kind of makes me want to leave. It's like, yeah, that's fair. So
that's funny.
Good.
Please don't leave.
Oh, this will be a good one. The magisterium is like
board games.
It's like board games because oftentimes when a big situation comes up, like in a board game or whatever, everyone has to kind of get in the same room and have conversations. And usually people end up leaving with smoke coming from their ears, just like white smoke coming from the chimney.
Very good. Complicated rules. Could have gone that route, but that was also pretty good.
Thanks.
All right. One more each.
Well, it's your turn to even it out. I'd be ahead by one.
You're clearly behind. Clearly. All right. Priests are like
an umbrella.
Priests are like an umbrella. I don't really need one, but they're nice to have around on a rainy day.
I would have said most people only need them about once a week.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Once a month. Most people only use them about once a month. Yeah.
The best ones are all black.
Okay, I'm gonna just move on. Are you ready?
I sure am.
And this is the most dangerous one we have so far, in my opinion.
Okay.
The Eucharist is like
microphone stands. Because they're meant to be no, hold on. I know be quick. I know that everything that you just thought was heresy, and you.
I know.
Stopped.
I'm like, this is
very funny.
This is sacrilege. No, that's also sacrilege. Sacrilegious, but no, still wrong. Okay, so the Eucharist is like a microphone stand because it helps someone to be able to do more. It frees them up by the presence and amplifies the voice of God in them by the mere presence of it. Anyways, if I want to use a tambourine while I'm singing, I can't do it if I'm holding a microphone with two hands. And
okay, shut up. You had it, and then you said tambourine, and everyone's gone. Everyone just left the podcast. They're not going to hear the outro. The few people who stay until the end of the show left when you said the word tambourine and Eucharist together.
That's fair, and rightfully so. I respect their decision. Yeah.
I like this game.
I hate it so much.
This is a game that I've been playing with myself for many years. I just never thought about it. But this is how I am at church. I'm like, what is that like? What is that like? What is that like? I'm just constantly making analogies. And it's funny because it's how my brain has always worked. And Colin Cowherd, who's the sports podcaster, radio guy that I listen to, he is most famous for making analogies that nobody would ever think of. And I'm like, maybe that's why I like this guy so much, because I'm constantly in mass. And I'm like, the Eucharist is like, and I don't know if you noticed what I was doing. I was just picking things that I could see in my room. Like I'm like Brick Tamblyn from Anchorman. I was like, it's like Brick from the story earlier. It's like board games that are right there. It's like mic stand that's literally half an inch from my face. So this has been a great show. We had some real conversations. We talked about saints. We talked about how I almost died and I don't feel safe in my home anymore. And then we played a silly game, which is how my brain works. This is awesome.
Better to end on a low note than end early.
We're not ending on a high note. We just had to stop. It's just time to go.
Not enough gold to dig for there. Thank you for having me, Taylor. I appreciate you.
We are coming up on the 10-year anniversary of this show, and you said the word tambourine for the first time in this show's history. It's time to stop.
And the last time, and jumping the shark. Yeah.
That's Christopher Bartlett. I'll be back next week. I'll be back in a month. See ya. Thank you so much for watching and listening today. If you enjoyed today's show, make sure you hit subscribe wherever you're watching or listening. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you leave a comment. If you leave a tambourine, you also get -1 points, but that will be more than Chris ended the game with.
For sure.
We'll see you soon. Love you.